Alright, Dark Souls style. You know what? I take my chances. I take my chances, boys. So let's talk about one in particular game that is more hardcore than Dark Souls. I cannot believe I've said that, and that is Mortal Shell. Mortal Shells is a Souls-like action role-play game where you are a creature whose unique ability is inhabited the dead bodies of fallen warriors scattered across the realm of Fulgrim. So the plot of the story is... Honestly, I'll be quite honest with you, I have no idea what the story is. There is no indication of what I had to do at the start and why I'm here and what my purpose is. Yeah, for me, it's confusing. It's really, really confusing. And if you are one of those hardcore lores, and like want to know about the story of the game, then good luck finding it because this place ain't for you. But what I'm here to talk about is a review of the game itself and how good it is and how bad it is. So let's start off with the graphics overall. The game is majorly pretty. When I first started into the game, it looked great. The sounds, the way the character animations, the way you handle a weapon, and the way that everyone handles a weapon. The enemy's reaction just looks almost human, and I love it. Each animation I've seen so far is always like kind of different from everything. The visuals is very dark and bleak. I like that, and especially at the first start with all the fog, it just blended in really, really well. Some of the other locations I've explored have been really interesting. It's a game that is really, really pretty. So let's talk about the gear and the equipment. So the equipment is very different from other Dark Souls. As you're a vessel, I believe, you need to take control of dead knights by awakening these mortal shells and occupying their bodies. Each mortal shell has different stats and abilities and buffs. But there is only a few on this game, so compared to like any other games, they are limited to stuff you can only wear. Each armor has a different stance and style and health or stamina costs, so be sure to pick the right one when you are looking around and going into battle. Let's talk about the weapons. Again, there are only a few weapons in the game. They are scattered all around Fulgrim, and you know what, from what I've seen, they're pretty close. I like to see each weapon as tools rather than weapons, because there are certain enemies that need to be handled with different weapons. Say for instance, if you've got a fast fighting enemy, you'll need to use something a little bit quicker than just a two-handed sword. If you're fighting something big maybe, or something that there's loads of enemies around, you'll need something that can take out a load of people. Oh, did I die? Oh, he broke the shell right out of me. He broke the shell right out of me. Now, as I said, the enemies are hard and unique in their own little way. They all have some very interesting attack stance, so if you're looking to get past them or beat them, there are two ways you can do it. Run like a little girl! Or study each attack these enemies have in order to beat them easily. So when I say study, I mean really study and remember what they do, because each enemy are very unique with their attacks. And that comes down to the next worst thing. The bosses. Yeah, they don't mess around. As your character is a slow pace for attacking stuff and all that, they're a lot quicker and they are a lot smarter. So you are vulnerable to be attacked and killed a lot. Timing is the major thing in the game. When taking on a boss, I felt like the boss was learning from my moves. So after a while I was doing the repeated stuff, it ended up failing over time. And these bosses are like the MLG of bosses. So try not to do a spam attack, because it will learn from that spam attack and literally take you to Brown Town. Alright, fucking Dark Souls style. You know what? I take my chances. I take my chances, boys. I didn't even scratch the power of it. That was not fun.
Yes. Taste the truth.
As in Dark Souls, in order to level up, you'll need to kill enemies, retrieve souls, and try not to get killed, else you might have one chance to get them, and if you get killed again, you'll lose them forever. Same concept with Mortal Shells, as it's a Souls-like game, but instead of souls, you'll need to collect tar and glimps in order to upgrade your stats and abilities for that armor. So leveling up yourself is not really a thing, but it's more of leveling up your gear. That's the thing. And overall, the game is really, really hard. And to me, I find it a lot harder than Dark Souls itself, because this game is more focused on hand-to-hand combat than it is of getting spells and loads of weapons to use and craft. They really heavily focused on combat system. However, that combat system kind of failed. So now this is the statement where I'm going to talk about my setbacks and just problems with Mortal Shell right now. So the first thing I'd like to say is the control schemes, it's very niched. I was running and I was ready to run in and attack an enemy, like run attack. But when I clicked left click, it literally just made my character stand there and just left, right. And I like to do a running attack, but yeah, that's literally a default button for any other combat system. The new default combat running system is the right click instead, the heavy attack. There is a 40% chance you will successfully hit them, because if they decide to lag twitch a little bit, just a teeny tiny bit, you will literally miss that attack and get clapped by the enemy, or maybe three that are just next to you. So with that being said, the enemy tracking is a bit weird but not great, and that comes down to my second problem, is the enemy movement. Although the animation is really cool, getting attacked from 180 degrees turn instantly is really, really annoying. And it's not just like their actual move, it literally turns the entire character body around to do a 180 without it doing an animation. That's really, really annoying. And they will do that no matter. And for the game to be studied well, and you can't even make that up, and finding an opening, they keep doing that. I felt like that's not really a way to put in a game. When you roll right behind them to attack, and they instantly 180 degrees turn. It's like... It's just not like they didn't turn, they instantly go straight to 180. And then, you know... Another thing I noticed is in the enemy movement, that is, if you see an enemy just sitting there, half of the time they will do like an animation to get up. Before you could run towards them, they instantly throw an attack at you without like doing an animation of getting up. They literally just attack you right there. So my other problem is, where do I go? I'm not a fan over the crazy laws in games. I find like having an over-complicated lore is pretty silly. In my point, I like a good storytelling as well. I'm not a huge fan of over-crazy stories, but after seeing The Sister, I was lost on where to go. My only lead was the vision of weapons and gear. But with you know, compared to like Dark Souls 1, you know you'd had to get out the Undead Asylum, and once you get out, you talk to a guy that tells you to ring 2 church bells in order to open these gates. And at first, you just go to the bells, and then you start learning as you're progressing through. And that's what was cool about Dark Souls. You learn as you progress through the game, you study where you're at. With Mortal Shells, I still don't have a clue. Another problem is the draw distance. It's not a huge problem. It feels like there's a problem that could be sorted after a first update. But when you see an enemy across the pathway to a campfire, and as you're walking up, out of nowhere, their bodies, the entire the enemies just randomly appear in front of you, right in front of you. It's not just any like long distance; they're literally in front of you, and having them to appear like that is not great. Parrying and blocking. Now, I've got some frustrations with the blocking and parrying, because you can't use a sword to block. I know, right? A heavily involved game in sword fighting doesn't have sword blocking. But instead, they backed it up with body block, which is literally turn into stone when they attack you. Now, I felt like that's pretty lazy to do. I felt that was lazy on themselves for that. But, you know, for what I've seen, you can use it for your advantages, I guess. But once you use that block, you've got 10 seconds for it to recharge in order to do another block. Bit silly, I know. And the parrying, once you get this weird chains, you will learn the arts of parrying. If I've said that right, that's great. If I haven't, my bad. So you're going to have to go through with me on that one. With parrying, in order to heal yourself, you'll need to parry. Now, parrying is a 70% chance that you will succeed or not succeed. So it's pretty dumb. I don't like this system. I'm not a huge fan of the system. Although you can get food to heal yourself, it still doesn't justify how much health you get back because you only get little small points. But with parrying, you do get to have the ability to drain an enemy with it. But then again, you need to wait for it to charge after I would say like 5 or 10 seconds again in order to use that again. So now my final complaint that made me quit after playing 8 hours of this game, and I only just noticed, is the quick slots. So in every game you'll have a quick slot so you can quickly move to an item to heal yourself or use it in an advantage. So you have basically quite a few to put in your quick slot. However, you can only use one. From what I've tried doing and what I've tried putting in, I couldn't put any more quick slots in. I could only put the one. It doesn't tell you where to put it. It doesn't tell you how to put them in the quick slot. It doesn't even have an indication of where to put it. You have to guess in your inventory thing, and that is horrible. I'm surprised they left that in there. So when you go into your items, you've literally trying to find, oh yeah, how to quick slot it. You think you click a drag. No, that doesn't work. You eat that thing you really needed on that last fight. So you try another button. You accidentally eat that thing you needed in the game. And then you get to the point that you've pressed nearly every button. And once you finally figured out how to press enter and put it on quick slot 1, you've eaten pretty much everything you needed to get through the game. And then you decide to take a practice run like I did and try and put it on quick slot 2, and you cannot put it on quick slot 2. That's what really annoys me with this game, and that's what made me quit the game, because I was so frustrated with that they didn't indicate of their own settings in their inventory. And overall, the game is absolutely hardcore. It is like top of the range, brutal. The music, the sounds, the visuals, the gameplay, it's so eye-catching, and places to see are very exciting. But there is a lot of problems with this game, and it does need attention to detail. There is not a lot of equipment of weapons in the game, and I feel a lot more closer to quickly getting them, which is sad, because having a few weapons is not just fun, and it just breaks the excitement of going to the place to get it. However, the skill upgrades kind of like rules over it, so it's kind of a silver lining to that. Each enemy is very pretty and scary and exciting to see, and that is fun. But with the 180 turns and kind of their own glitchiness, animations, and twitchiness, kind of brings it out of the immersive of combat fighting. In the Steam, it's reviewed mixed, and it deserves that rating considering the good and bad things of it at the same time. I really hope they have some kind of bug fixes soon, because I want to go back to this game. But with that being said, I don't want to think about the quick slots or any other ridiculous things that should have been implemented in the game. As for the price tag, I'm really glad they made it $34, aka £25. If this was a full AA price tag, this would have been a different review. But considering the price tag of it right now, I'm happy with it, and I'm happy the way it is. And that's my review for Mortal Shells. Guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, this is my personal take, so take it as it goes by. If you did enjoy this video, please hit a like. What other Dark Soulsy games is there out there nowadays? There's quite a few, and I want to go and have a look at some of them. Because Souls-like action roleplay games are interesting, and they're fun. They focus a little bit more heavier on combat, which is good. I'm looking forward to seeing the new releases of these hardcore type games. That is me done. Corner's shining out. You guys take care and have a wonderful day.